Yo, what's going on, guys? It's Houston Sports Talk back into the video today. And today, the Oklahoma City Thunder play the Minnesota Timberwolves for Game 2 of the Western Conference Finals. It was a embarrassing loss to the Minnesota Timberwolves after having a double-digit lead early in the first half against this Oklahoma City Thunder team, and being up by 4 points at halftime, 48-44. I don't think it's not embarrassing if you're up 4 points to this Thunder team at halftime, but the performance they had in the second half was embarrassing, getting outscored 70-40. I think you can look at the Thunder's dominant performance, and you can say, there's not much the Timberwolves could have done about how dominant the Thunder were offensively in that second half. But Minnesota, they could have done something about how bad they were offensively. I think you all have to look at Anthony Edwards, and that's where it starts. He needs to be better. He needs to shoot more. I don't know how a guy that is, I don't know if I've ever seen a superstar in that stage like that who needs to show up, not show up. Like, sure, we've seen games this season, many seasons, where a guy doesn't play well in the fourth quarter. A superstar needs his team needs him to do good, and he doesn't, and he just is terrible. But I don't know how many times I've seen a team need their superstar as badly as the Timberwolves needed Anthony Edwards in the fourth quarter, and him just refuse to shoot. One field goal attempt for Anthony Edwards when you're down by 10 in the fourth quarter. I know that lead got up. The Thunder went on a quick run. That lead got really high, but Edwards came in. That was a 10-point game. A couple times they got it down to 9 or 8. They needed Anthony Edwards, and he didn't shoot the ball. He had multiple looks to potentially shoot the ball, and he kept passing up. I think that is fine from Anthony Edwards if your team around you is playing well. But the only guy that played well was Julius Randle. And Julius Randle didn't even play that well in the second half. Most of his production was in the first half. Gobert played terrible. Jaden McDaniels was in foul trouble. He didn't play terrible, but he was in foul trouble. He fouled out. Dante DiVincenzo, Naz Reid, they were terrible. Mike Conley wasn't as bad if you compare him to some of the others, but he missed a lot of open shots. A lot of guys missed a lot of shots. And the only guy that Anthony Edwards should have been looking to pass to, if he has a good look, was Julius Randle. And Julius Randle wasn't even that as good in the second half as he was in the first half. So I look at Anthony Edwards in this game too, and he needs to be more aggressive. And if he is more aggressive, the Minnesota Timberwolves have a shot of winning this game tonight. If he is not, they will get blown out yet again. But it is a closer game to me if he is being more aggressive. And I think that all depends on that. But it's still going to be a tough game for them to deal with this Thunder team and the Thunder crowd. That crowd is crazy to deal with. So, and I said this with the MSG crowd last night. I was watching the game with a friend. I said, "You think this crowd is loud, and you hear it, and it sounds nuts, but whatever it makes you, how loud you think it is to listening it through the TV, it's 10 times louder." So, and that's probably the same thing with that OKC crowd. So that's another hard thing. Look, it's a hard thing to deal with. The team, yeah, obviously it is, but the crowd is another big thing, especially, with a team that struggled like Minnesota did in the last game. So we'll see how they can bounce back. I don't know if they will. I want to go with Minnesota in this game tonight. I think I will, but my heart tells me to go with Minnesota, but my gut and my brain tells me to pick OKC. But I'm gonna go with my heart, and I'm gonna pick Minnesota because I think if Edwards is more aggressive and he plays well, they've got a shot to win. But if he doesn't, they'll get blown out by 30, and that's the biggest factor is Edwards showing up and playing well and just shooting the ball. I mean, like even if he takes 9 shots in the fourth quarter and he only makes 2. To me, that is better than what he did in the fourth quarter the other night because he only took 1 shot in the fourth quarter. I mean, I'm not saying if he shot 2 for 9 in the fourth quarter, I look at that as a good performance, but it's showing up, and that's something he didn't do in the fourth quarter last game. So, yeah, let's get the starting lineups real quick. I think we all know the starting lineups, but just nothing. I don't think anything's changing. No injuries at all. Minnesota's injury report clean. Nikola Topic is the only injury for OKC. He was their first round pick last year, like pick 12, something like that. He's been injured since he got drafted. Who knows when he'll ever play his first game. Hopefully that's next season. This team is so stacked, I don't think he'll get minutes though. But no injuries for OKC. If you look outside of Topic, Timberwolves clean. So Thunder starting lineups: Shai Gilgeous-Alexander, Lou Dort, J Dub, and both the big man Hartenstein and Chet. Then for the Minnesota Timberwolves, it'll be Mike Conley, Anthony Edwards, Jaden McDaniels, Rudy Gobert, and Julius Randle, unless they make a change, which, look, they could use a change, but honestly, like, Naz Reid and Dante DiVincenzo are so great off the bench, but they played so terrible in game one. Those are the guys you'd look at potentially making a starting lineup change. I don't think they're gonna do that. I think some of these guys, like, you look at potentially, like, if you're not gonna bench Gobert, you're probably not gonna bench McDaniels, you're probably not gonna bench Conley. Obviously, Edwards and Randall staying in the starting lineup. I don't see any changes for this Minnesota Timberwolves. Even if Minnesota goes down 3-0, I don't see them making any starting lineup changes. The only starting lineup change I could see them making is, like, if DiVincenzo potentially gets hot and then Conley still starts struggling, I could see them making that type of change. But I don't think it's going to happen. Let me know your thoughts and predictions for this game tonight in the comment section, and peace out.